All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, September 11th. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that I like within the game as well. But as always, guys, all of my final plays, if you do want to fade me, all of my final plays are going to be in the pinned comment. The last few nights here, fading me has paid the bills, and it continues last night. I know we've had plenty of nicknames along this great MLB season, but the latest one must be Mr. One Win, because 4 straight nights we've only pulled out 1 dub. I'll womp myself for that. Hopefully that's cleansing us of whatever bad streak we're on, and we can bounce back tonight. We do have some really, and I mean really, good news here. Let's pump in some damn crowd noise for Angry Tater. Comes through with a 4-leg parlay, near plus 400 odds. And all 4 teams smack, and we cash the parlay for the ride of the day. So shout out to Tater, guys. If you don't know what the ride of the day is, it is simple. All you have to do is use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play, I tweet it out, and then I give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to ride with your plays. If you lose, you got to face the womp womp. We got to talk about it, but that ain't the case today. Shout out to Angry Tater. We're going to continue to ride with your ride of the day for today, as long as you get it in relatively early, because we do have some early MLB games. So go ahead and jump into the comments, guys, and check out Angry Tater's ride of the day. Hit the like button, the like sign on all of the other ride of the days, because there's some really good ride of the days and picks that people throw out in the comments that I would never think to bring up in the video or never found myself. Like a lot of good minds down there. So go check out the comments for the ride of the day. But what do you say we go ahead and jump into this slate? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's been a rocky few last days here. Mr. One Win reporting for duty, but let's at least get multiple wins tonight. Can we ask for that? We're started off with Pittsburgh taking on Miami. On the mound for Pittsburgh, looks like it's going to be Bailey Falter going up against Jonathan Bermudez, who has not had an MLB start yet. He does have 2 game appearances this season in which he pitched 3 2/3 and then 1 innings pitched. Did not look very good. Had a 1.64 ERA and a 1.64 WHIP and a 1.93 WHIP in those 2 games. So I think we lean towards the Pirates here. The one thing I'll say is minus 170 for a team like the Pirates doesn't really seem like it's all that great, but they're probably a safe player. They won 7 straight against Miami, including 6 of those this season. So they clearly have their number. They're at home here. They've won 3-2 and 6-4 in games 1 and 2. So I'll lean Pittsburgh, but minus 170 for them doesn't seem like it's all that great. I don't mind the idea of taking an under. Even in a high-scoring game yesterday, it didn't really feel high-scoring, the pace of play, the pace of those runs coming in. So I think that with 2 bad pitchers, we do run the risk of a lot of runs coming through. But overall, these offenses aren't all that incredible. Pittsburgh kind of middle of the pack against lefties last 30 days, or below middle of the pack, and then Miami kind of in the exact same boat against lefties last 30 days as well, both being lefties. Both starters throw fastballs too, not the best pitch for either team. So I'm going to lean towards the under. That's probably the only thing that I could rationalize as a potential final play here, but even still, I don't know if I'm going to be getting this game in the mix. Kind of a similar boat with this one. We have Cleveland and the White Sox. Cleveland minus 225 on the money line. Looks like Davis Martin going up against Boyd today. Yesterday, Cleveland wins 5-0, and that's, again, due to the fact that we have a White Sox team that really isn't all that great, and I don't even know why they'd be caring about baseball at this point in the season, right? So, to me, it's probably a Cleveland money line throw-in, kind of like Angry Tater did, and cash a nice little parlay. Again, one more cha-ching there. But this is probably a Cleveland spot. I think that they have the starting pitching advantage. They have the offensive advantage. They have a bullpen advantage. There's no real ways you can kind of cut this up and say that Chicago should win. But that price tag at minus 225 probably keeps it off the slip altogether, and we won't spend too much time on it. In terms of the total, again, I like Cleveland to get theirs. They've been doing that. They scored 5 in both games 1 and 2 in this series, so maybe they do something similar like that again today, but I would never take an over with the White Sox involved, because they have to carry their weight here. Like, even if the Guardians go out there and score 5 runs, right? The White Sox, I don't trust them to score 4 to hit the over. I don't even trust them to score 3 necessarily to hit the push. So I lean towards Cleveland team total over, but definitely not that, full game total with both teams involved. Next game up, we got Toronto taking on the Mets. Bowden Francis listed as the starter here for Toronto, going up against Sean Manaea of the Mets. Manaea's been a little erratic on the road. He's not as consistent. He's coming off of actually his most recent road start was great, but it was against the White Sox, team we just talked about. He's coming off of a home start against Cincinnati, 6 2/3, 4 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, 2 home runs, 2 walks, only 3 hits, so 2 of his hits were home runs. So kind of a mixed bag of starts there. Whereas Bowden Francis has been pitching fairly well. He had his worst start against Philadelphia in a while. Even still, he had 3 earned runs through 6 innings pitched. He has a 1 flat ERA over his last 5, so he's been pitching fairly well. I definitely see an angle being able to get to the Mets today, but I think for a plus sign next to the number, I'm going to be leaning towards the underdog here, Toronto, plus 114 right now over on Bet Rivers, plus 110 in multiple other books, plus 105, I believe, on FanDuel. So I think this is a decent spot. MGM, yeah, plus 110. That might be the direction we roll in today. Again, I like these Toronto bats. I liked them 2 days ago, then they switched to pitcher, and obviously we got we didn't end up betting it, but it ended up throwing a wrench into things. But they scored 6 runs yesterday. Maybe they build a little bit of momentum. That was against a red-hot David Peterson, who's also a lefty as well, right? So it's kind of like a spot in which maybe they just do the same thing against Manaea, another Mets pitcher that's been having a very good year, but do the Jays are they able to get to him? So I'm going to lean Toronto here on the money line. In terms of the total, I think Francis is going to have to pitch pretty well against a decent Mets lineup to be able to get this win. The Mets have been kind of struggling in the last 4 or 5 games or so. Prior to that, they were going off, and then obviously prior to that, they were going off at one point in the season. So I think it's going to come down to Francis and maybe Toronto putting up a decent number, but that decent number being like 4 or 5. So I'm going to lean towards the under. The bullpen situation in this game isn't all that great, so maybe it's like a first 5 under. But again, I like Toronto for that plus money. I don't know if I want to like pigeonhole them and put a cap to how many runs they could score, because if we go first 5 under and we like Toronto on the money line and they score 5 runs in the first inning, it stinks because we lose that first 5 under, but Toronto's looking good. You know what I mean? So we'll play around with it. Keep an eye on the pin comment, like I always tell you guys. And all right, I'm excited to share this one with you guys. Sleeper has so many free squares live right now. Tua for Thursday Night Football. They got a Caitlin Clark, Michael King. They have a Brock Purdy free square, Milroe free square for college football. So many free squares over on Sleeper. Make sure to check it out. I have a link in the pinned comment. You're going to get 100% of your first deposit matched. It's also Wild Card Wednesday, in which they do a discount or multiple discounts on players, or like a protected pick and protected slip, that type of thing. They always mix it up on Wednesday. So make sure to head over to Sleeper. Again, that link is in the pinned comment. You get 100% of your first deposit match. If you're like, what is Sleeper? Well, I'll tell you. It's a player prop app in which you combine 2 or more players into a slip or a parlay based on their projection. You pick them more or less. The more you get right, the more you get paid out. And what I love is that you can win up to 100 times your money over on Sleeper, because each and every play you put into your slip changes the multiplier. It is a dynamic payout system, so it doesn't just follow like 2 for 2 is 3x, or 3 for 3 is blah blah blah. No, each and every slip has its own dynamic odds and payouts. So go ahead and check it out, guys. I love Sleeper. I've been working with and using Sleeper for like 2 years now, so definitely reliable. Go ahead and check it out. That link is in the pinned comment. Let's jump back into these games and hopefully find some winners today. Pains me to look at this one, because if you watch back yesterday's video, I loved Arizona both on the money line. I liked them on the with their runs total, and I just couldn't get myself to pull the trigger on it. And they go out there and score 4 runs early on Evaldi. They score 2 more late. Like, this was a great spot, but just like I've been kind of cold lately, we didn't have the confidence to pull the trigger on it, which is unfortunate. But they win 6-0 today on the mound for them. It's going to be Merrill Kelly going up against Cody Bradford. Cody Bradford, he's had some good spots this season. He's also struggled mightily on the road, but in his last few starts, and he has, I believe, 3 or 4 of his last 5 starts are home starts. So keep that in mind, because I said he struggles on the road, but his last road start was pretty good against Cleveland. He's got a 1.8 ERA over his last 5 strikeouts per game, not letting many hard hit balls or home runs up. So definitely some good looks for him there. Merrill Kelly just got back from, let's see, he pitched coming off of a game in San Francisco, right? 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 8 strikeouts, no walks, no home runs, in a 3-2 loss. I think that was the game, if I'm not mistaken, against Blake Snell, in which Blake Snell got shattered in the first inning by the Diamondbacks, and then they didn't score a single run for the rest of the game. But overall here, this is a spot in which I think you're still getting the better offense, in fact, the far better offense, for a manageable price tag at -140. So this is going to be one where I consider Arizona on the money line. I think FanDuel is probably the best place to get it right now. It's like -148. Most other books sitting actually in the -150. So if you can snag a -148, that's definitely the move. But I think you're getting the better offense. Not really the better pitcher, but he's been pitching, fairly well, and then also just overall comparable bullpen. So I like the spot. Cody Bradford also throws 53% fastballs. The fact that Arizona is the number one team last 30 days hitting the fastball speaks volumes as well. Now the total's sitting at 8.5. This is a spot in which I say, okay, you know what? I don't mind that over because I'm not fully backing Merrill Kelly, but the more consistent play is what we ended up passing up on last night, which I think would be Diamondbacks team total over plus 100 for over 4.5. So they think they're going to get to, the books think they're going to get to Bradford as well. But 3.5 right now at -165 on ESPN bet. That's super, super juiced, but it's obviously the safer play. Maybe we split a unit, the juice side and then the plus money side, something like that. But I'd trust Arizona to keep their offensive, studness, I don't even know if that's the right word, going, because they have been scoring some damn runs. All right, we got the Tigers taking on the Colorado Rockies here. Not a game that I'm hugely interested in. Tanner Gordon on the mound for Colorado, going up against Detroit's Casey Mize. This is probably similar to how we talked about Cleveland going up against the White Sox. You get to this point in the season, and there's some times where it's just like that team on the other end shouldn't be caring. Even in the Tigers kind of, probably don't care that much about this game because they can almost sleepwalk through it. That'll get you in trouble sometimes, but their last few games they've looked really, really good, especially their last two. 9-1 win over Oakland, then they come back home, play Colorado, 11-0 win over Colorado. So yeah, they're worth the odds right now. I just don't think that I'm going to get there at -185. It's kind of what I talked about yesterday. I think the Tigers win this game. They're the better team. They have the starting pitching advantage, probably a slightly better offense, definitely the better bullpen. But -185 for the Tigers still doesn't seem like it's all that worth it. So I'll lean in their direction, but it's probably some sort of money line parlay. In terms of the total, though the Tigers scored 11 yesterday, I like the under today, even though these pitchers should stink it up. I just don't think either offense is all that spectacular. And I know the Tigers have now scored 20 runs in their last two games. I get it, but it's just not where I'm at today. I like the under. All right, Philadelphia taking on Tampa Bay here. Phillies get the dub yesterday. Now we have Zach Wheeler on the mound going up against Shane Baz, a right-handed pitcher, which you guys know usually I'm very inclined to fading Tampa Bay against a righty with one of the best righties on the mound today in Zach Wheeler. So, I like this spot for a Philly. It'd probably be a first 5 run line, though. You can get that for -130. They have to be winning at the end of 5. I also don't mind the idea of their team total over 3.5. Both things that I liked yesterday, but I had been in the path. Like me not betting the Phillies yesterday was me taking my hand away from the burner because I kept holding it over there. Like we lost 3 straight Phillies plays. And then yesterday they finally come through, but we weren't on them. So maybe I'm the Phillies jinx as of late, but today seems like a pretty good opportunity of Wheeler on the mound in a spot in which he should be able to suppress this Rays offense that isn't all that great anyways. The win they have in this series, game 1, they won 2-0. They scored 4 yesterday, but overall, again, it's Zach Wheeler who's phenomenal. He's been pitching well, 1.2 ERA over his last 5. The team is 4-1 in his last 5 as well. Shane Baz hasn't been pitching poorly, but I like the Phillies bats against him today and the spot and the fact that he's on the road in Philadelphia as well. So yeah, I'm backing Wheeler, backing this Phillies lineup. First 5 works out because you're getting better odds to be winning at the end of first 5, but you also kind of miss the Rays bullpen, which is better than the Phillies bullpen to some degree. So I like Phillies first 5. I said that like 10 times. In terms of the total, probably Phillies team total over would be what I'm looking at, or Tampa Bay team total under. When we do that, like I don't like the idea of a full over or under because I think the Phillies could score a lot of runs today, but I think Wheeler shuts down the Rays lineup. So it's kind of a tale of two different tapes there. So I like the Phillies team total over or Tampa Bay team total under. But yeah, Phillies first 5 run line, probably the main thing I like in this one. And actually, one more way to kind of illustrate that, let's jump into the dashboard, which this is the dashboard that we've built ourselves, guys, in Google Sheets. Channel members have access to this if you want to become a channel member. $2.99 per month. You're probably spending double that on coffee per day, right? So $2.99 per month helps support us, and you get access to this MLB dashboard each and every day. But what I want to show you is Shane Baz throws a ton of fastballs. That's the pitch mix here, right? Look at the Phillies against the fastball. Okay, they hit it very, very well. You have the slider. He throws it 26% of the time. Okay, the Phillies hit that pitch really well well as well. So you have 26%, 47%. That makes up, what, 70-something percent, right? And the Phillies hit those pitches really, really well. And then on the flip side, the pitch mix definitely works because Tampa Bay doesn't hit any pitch all that well. But look at them against righties last 30 days. It is absolutely redded out. So I like this spot for the Phillies to be able to have a lead after the first 5 innings. But yeah, if you guys do want to become a channel member, I'll put that link in the pinned comment as well. You get that. You get a bunch of members-only videos like how to build your own models and whatnot, all kind of like starter versions for Google Sheets. So everyone, if you have internet access, you have access to it. So yeah, go ahead and become a channel member, $2.99 per month. All right, we got Washington taking on Atlanta. Jake Irvin on the mound for Washington, going up against Matt Fried's Atlanta. After 12 runs yesterday, I just don't necessarily see this being a great spot to back Washington. I don't think the Braves score a bunch of runs again, but they definitely have a pitching advantage. Jake Irvin started the season really well and was pitching well, but he's kind of come back down to earth. Not all that terrible, but last few starts have been pretty damn bad. 4.2 ERA over his last 5, and realistically, it's his last 2 starts. Against the Cubs 2 starts ago, he had 4 2/3 pitched, 8 hits, 7 earned runs, 6 Ks, 2 walks, and a home run let up. Over 22 pitches per inning. And then his most recent start against Pittsburgh. That's the one that I'm kind of hung up on here. 6 earned runs through 5 innings pitched, just 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 7 hits. So he allowed 10 base runners in each of those last 2 games. With an Atlanta lineup that may be heating up. I know they scored 0 runs 2 games ago, but before that it was 5, 4. Then they go out there and drop 12 on you. I think that this is probably an Atlanta spot. So maybe it's like Jake Irvin over and earned runs or something like that if we can get maybe some plus money. But the way he's been pitching, probably can't. I just think that minus 180 is a lot to ask for from the Braves. And then even their full game run line at minus 1.5 isn't all that great because you're paying minus 105. Like, I'd rather be a plus sign next to that one as well. So this is a tough spot to get to the Braves money-wise. But in terms of, game script and whatnot, this is probably a Braves spot. But you know what? Have I been good at calling spots lately? The last few days of our MLB record would indicate no. In terms of the total, I don't mind the idea of Braves team total over. It allows us to get to that Nationals bullpen that isn't all that great. But first and foremost, like, what if Irvin has one of these blow-up starts? Being able to go out there and put 4 runs on the board could be as simple as that for the Braves. So that's how I would I'd go in this game. Now, honestly, that may just be the better move. Over 3.5 right now, minus 160 on ESPN, 4.5 minus 104. Like, you're paying a lot of juice for that 3.5, but that might be the move. You're paying less of a price for that than your Braves money line. So unfortunately, I like the Braves today, but they're probably priced out no matter how we look at them. All right, this one hurt yesterday, the Yankees and the Royals. We had the over in this one, and yeah, unfortunately, that does not come through because the Yankees, who I was banking on to score some runs because they had 10 the day before, scores 0 runs, and they lose 5-0. So tough spot to be me yesterday because if you were to tell me that Kansas City gets their 5 runs, I would have taken that over 8.5 million times. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, it does not come through. But there's a lot of unfortunates about yesterday. Today, we have Cole Reagans on the mound going up against Luis Gil. I like the Yankees in a bounce-back spot. 0 runs yesterday. I have to imagine they score some runs today. Even using the dashboard here for members, you could see that you're going to get a lot of fastballs, a lot of changeups, but in here you have the slider and cutter. So these few main pitches here, fastball for the Yankees, cutter for the Yankees, and slider for the Yankees, that's making up a damn good portion of his pitch mix, over 65%, right? So I think this is a decent spot to be able to look at the Yankees for a price that makes a little bit of sense here. Minus 140-ish, definitely paying a decent amount of juice, but I still think this could be like a Yankees minus 150 type of a spot. So yeah, I like the Yankees on the money line. Hopefully Luis Gil can kind of keep it going and pitch well for this team because they would need that against what I would consider a good Kansas City lineup. But Kansas City is on the road. They don't always score as many runs as they do at home when they're on the road. So if we have a start like Gil had in his last start against it wasn't the best weather conditions, but a really good Chicago Cubs team, 6 innings pitched, just 1 hit, 7 Ks, 14 pitches per inning. If he can do something like that, I think we have a good chance today. That being said, we also are coming off a masterclass performance. Maybe that's a little egregious, but a really good performance from Cole Reagans in his last start against Minnesota. 7 Ks through 6 innings, 0 earned runs. So 2 good pitchers here. I think that this is a spot in which you might get good value for the over just because you have 2 good offenses, but I'd rather go with the Yankees money line, bet it and forget it, and then hopefully they do cash for that. But I don't mind the over even with these 2 pitchers being very good. I like the offenses a little bit more. Boston taking on Baltimore. We get a Orioles win yesterday. We didn't bet it, but we lean in that direction. Today we have a similar situation. I think in my brain it's like I must be totally missing something here because you're continuously getting really good price tags for a better Orioles team. Yes, the Red Sox went off and won the first game of the series, but yesterday 5-3 win, and the Orioles kind of won that game all along. They scored one in the first, two in the fourth, two in the seventh. Like they just kind of chugged along. Whereas the Red Sox, they scored 3 runs, but they had 1 run up until the 8th inning. So wasn't all that close, I guess, is the point that I'm making. And you got plus 122 if you rode with the Orioles yesterday. Now, do I like Dean Kramer, who's on the mound for the Orioles today? No, he's coming off a very good start. It was against Tampa Bay, but 6 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 7 Ks. He did have 3 walks. That's definitely something worth noting here. His walk rate on the road this year is 10%. The Red Sox, unfortunately, don't walk all that much, but maybe there's an angle of, let's see if we can get him for walks. You know what I mean? Over 1.5 would be nice. I don't know what his line actually is. We could probably find it really quickly, but to me, again, kind of to stay on track here, I'm not necessarily looking to back him all that much, but I think you're getting a really good price tag for the team in which is just kind of overall the better team. Their bullpen's kind of shaky, but the Red Sox bullpen stinks, right? Dean Kramer's been kind of up and down, but so has Nick Pivetta. He is probably the better pitcher. You probably have a pitching advantage, but offensively, I still trust Baltimore, even though their numbers are fairly similar the last 30 days. But you get a lot of fastballs from Nick Pivetta. It's a pitch that the Baltimore Orioles hit very well. The cutter, they hit very well as well. You can see this, the cutter and the fastball right here. Look at those two. The two of the better pitches that we're going to see from, that's the Red Sox. So I guess cutter and slider, same situation here for Baltimore. So I'll lean towards Baltimore, but again, I feel like I'm missing something here. I say that every game so far in the series, like, why are they plus money? Why are they plus money? They cashed yesterday, but again, I must be missing something. In terms of the total, we're sitting at 9. I don't mind the under. Neither offense has been all that thrilling, and if we see a game like yesterday, it wouldn't surprise me. 5-4? Like, I don't think the Red Sox do what they did in game 1, which was go out there and score 12 runs, and Baltimore now has scored 3 runs and 5 runs, so this is probably like a 5-4 game maximum, 6-3, that type of thing, but again, feel like I'm missing something here. In fact, comment missing something if you made it this far into the video. People are going to read those comments and think that I'm missing something, which I might be. But what's cool about these comments sometimes, when I tell you to comment random things, is that I'll forget that I said that specifically, and then I'll see the first few comments flow of missing something, and I start stressing out like, what did I miss? But you know what? I'm telling you to do it. So comment missing something if you made it this far in the video. Minnesota taking on the Angels here on the mound for Minnesota. I think it's Zebby Matthews going up against Jack Konowich, which saying those two names back to back sounds like it's like some 90s band, not 2 starting pitchers in the MLB. But nonetheless, Minnesota wins 10-5 yesterday. Pablo Lopez pitches well. He went 7 innings at least. Minnesota huge favorites in this one, and it does make sense. So I'm not totally against where the odds are. It's just going to put them out of reach for me. I'd look at their team total over. I don't think that Konowich kind of keeps them down. And you're getting a better price tag at minus 105, than minus 205 if you look at it in that direction. Right now, for a Minnesota team total over, you can get minus 130, but they're going to have to put 5 runs up. So yes, they scored a bunch yesterday, but I do think that, that's a better price. Like if they win this game, they probably score 5 runs or something like that. So that's probably how I would play this. And I guess that kind of comes into the total as well. I don't want to trust this Angels offense to do squat, so I'd probably just lean Minnesota team total over. St. Louis taking on the Reds here. We got Lance Lynn on the mound going up against Brandon Williamson. This is not a game, I'll just say it to kind of spoil it, not a game that I really like all that much. You have 2 pitchers that you never really know exactly what you're getting. I don't love Williamson on the bump here for the Reds overall, but I will say you're going to get a lot of fastballs out of Lance Lynn, and if his fastball isn't working, it's not going to be the best start. But again, are we trusting a pitcher that only has pitched in 2 MLB games this season? I think he pitched last year too, but 2 MLB season, he started a lot last year, but 2 MLB games this season, 1 start this year. That 1 start, I don't believe went all that well according to plan. If I'm not mistaken, it was against the Mets, a week ago or so. So, I mean, yeah, I guess we can look at the Reds for plus money because I'm not really going to trust Lance Lynn. And they throw a lot of he throws a lot of fastballs. Like I mentioned, this is a Reds team that hits the fastball very, very well. You can see here, fastballs from Lance Lynn. Fastballs hit well for Cincinnati. I've been preaching that for a while now, that this is a Reds team that I only consider backing when they have a pitcher on the mound that throws a bunch of fastballs. So maybe it's a spot for that. In terms of their team total, maybe you can get some good value there because that's the way that we can potentially ride with the Reds, right? But get the pitcher out of the equation. Like they can go out there and score their 4 runs, which not bad odds, minus 115 on DraftKings for over 3.5. They can score their 4 runs on Lance Lynn, and it doesn't matter if the Cardinals got to Williamson. So maybe that's the way that we would play it. I don't mind the over in this spot. I don't love either offense totally, but again, I think the Reds can put up a number today, maybe 4-5. That seems like a good spot for the Cardinals to be able to contribute their 3. So I'm going to lean towards the over, but I'd probably go Reds team total over before looking at the Cardinals involved in that one. We got our, kicked in with this one yesterday. I had Houston on the first 5 run line, and that does not come through. They lose 4-3. It seems like Oakland plays Houston pretty damn well. I think they're pretty split in their last 10 meetings here. On the mound today for Houston is going to be Hunter Brown going up against Joey Estes. Hunter Brown has been pitching some really good baseball, which is why Houston's so heavily favored. But he has a .8, yes, a 0.8 ERA in his last 5 starts. He looked really good in his start back in July against this Oakland team. 6 innings pitched. Yes, he let up 8 hits, but he had 8 strikeouts, 1 earned run, 16 pitches per inning. So he got guys on base, but got out of Dodge pretty damn well. Going up against JP Sears, who last time he saw Houston was back in that same series. 6 innings pitched, 9 hits, 1 home run, 8 runs came through, 7 of them earned, only 3 strikeouts. So he kind of got tagged up in this spot. So I don't mind the idea. Actually, it's Joey Estes. JP Sears ended up pitching yesterday, right? So, that's a mismark on our notes there. But Joey Estes overall still not a guy that I want to trust. See if we can pull up his numbers against Houston. Yeah, this is a number against Houston's roster, right? Only 25 plate appearances against, but 350 average against, a WOBA of 402, slugging of 400. So backing Hunter Brown's probably the spot here. I'd do what I did yesterday, even though we got burned. First 5 run line. That way we can at least get some sort of a consumable price tag. Right now, if you go first 5 run line, which is, again, minus 0.5 in the first 5, you're paying minus 140 on Caesars. That's as far as I'd go with this one. In terms of the total, give me the Houston team total over if we can get it at a nice price. Did they look all that tremendous yesterday? I would say no. But right now, you tell me that they're going to go out there and score 4 runs. I'd agree with you. So give me Houston team total over as well as Houston on the money line. Or first 5 run line, like I said. All right, Padres win yesterday. And again, kicking myself for not getting on that, but we had Kirby against Yu Darvish. It was a 7-3 game. I didn't think that many runs were going to come home, but I figured San Diego would put up a decent number. Today we have a different pitching matchup, obviously. We have Michael King on the mound for San Diego going up against Brian Wu for Seattle. I'll still say, even though we have such good pitchers on the mound and all this, it's like this Padres offense, until proven otherwise, I don't mind backing them. Their last 10 games here, like, their outliers are 3 runs. But listen, his last 10 games, 13, 4, 4, 3, 6, 3, 5, 3, 6, 7. Like, that's really consistent. Are they having those blow-up games? I mean, the 13 was the first one I said, but are they having those blow-up games of, 15 runs and all that? Not exactly in the last couple weeks, but to give a consistent 4 runs per game. In fact, this season, they're averaging nearly 5 runs per game, like against the Seattle lineup that if they don't, suppress you entirely, they don't have the offense to kind of keep up. So yeah, I don't mind this spot for San Diego. If they can get to Brian Wu at some point, then I don't think Seattle's going to get to, Michael King necessarily and go out there and compete. So, yeah, I'm going to lean towards Michael King and the Padres in this one here to pick them minus 110. In terms of the total, sitting at 7, kind of learned my lesson thinking that these pitchers would be phenomenal yesterday. So I'm going to lean towards the over, but I don't mind the nerfy. I like the idea of Brian Will going through 3 batters or 3 outs in the first innings, pretty sufficiently, and then Michael King doing the same thing against the Mariners offense. So the nerfy in this spot is definitely something I would consider as well. Price tag on the nerfy, we can give you guys that right now. The first inning under 0.5 runs, minus 135. So little juicy for a nerfy. If it goes beyond that, we'd have to contemplate it, but I do like the spot, so I probably would pay another 10 cents, minus 145 at worst. All right, we got San Francisco taking on the Brewers. The Brewers pull out a really close one yesterday. Today we have Colin Ray on the mound going up against Blake Snell. Blake Snell got rocked in his most recent start, right? He did not look all that tremendous. I don't even know if he's fully confirmed to be the starter here, but we're taking this as if he is. This is a spot in which, Blake Snell is a very good pitcher. You have to now either buy into, is he going to bounce back? Or is he going to let that kind of affect him and crumble? Because again, remember at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of his season, he did not look all that tremendous. And then he got into this groove where he was just crushing, right? But based on his, last start, I guess against Arizona, right, he kind of fell out of that. So to me, maybe it's not a good little spot to back him, but I think he bounces back slightly against a Milwaukee offense that just has been a little bit dormant. Last 5 games, 2-2, 5-1, 3 runs scored. They pulled out the win yesterday, but that's because the Giants, they play like the White Sox, only scored 2 runs the entire game. So yeah, I guess I would lean Blake Snell and the Giants here in this spot, and hopefully, Blake Snell can do his job. But to me, it's still kind of a wild card. Maybe one thing that we could look at would be, Milwaukee team total under, or the first 5 under. That way we get Blake Snell involved. We can trust Colin Rea against a not so great San Francisco lineup. So that might be a move if we can get good pricing here, because the total's sitting at 7. It's pretty damn low, right? So if we can get the total at 4.5 for the first 5, which I don't know what we'd be paying odds there, but if we can go and get, under 4.5 for somewhat of decent odds, minus 140, give me minus 150 at most, then it might be worth considering. I think that both pitchers can do their job, and I don't like either offense. And then again, we don't have to fully back Blake Snell here because we have both pitchers involved, and we just kind of want a low scoring game overall. Dodgers taking on the Cubs was not the night to be on the Dodgers yesterday. That offense was quiet, and they lose 6-3. They lost 10-4 in game 1. So if there's any spot to probably pull the trigger on the Dodgers, it's here. I don't think that they get swept or lose 3 straight against this Cubs team in LA. So I like the Dodgers tonight, but I also don't mind the over. You have Jordan Wicks on the mound going up against Bobby Miller. Neither pitcher confirmed yet, but I don't hate the offenses kind of going off against both of those teams. So give me the Dodgers on the money line. Decent price tag you're paying if you do like that a lot. But I think I might just go with the over. I wish it was at 8.5. I'm sure we can buy a point and get it to 8.5, because right now I'm seeing the over at 9 on MGM for plus money. So if we can get that down to minus 115, we can probably snag an 8.5. But yeah, keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we roll with something like that. 2 good offenses, 2 games in a row in which we've seen some high scoring. Maybe we run that back today. But guys, that's all I have for you in today's video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. We got H to H coming out today, NFL picks, and then we have Thursday Night Football picks coming out this afternoon as well. So 2 additional videos that at least I do are coming out today, and obviously we have videos from the guys on the channel as well. So make sure you guys check those out. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.